Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning.
And then everybody figured out it was 9:30 instead of 9:45.
That would be great.
I think that's because I look at
Hamlet.
Hannah.
Oh.
Oh, this is only two.
I'm like, I don't know if I
Seems
else,
like-
but I was here at 9.
I was, yeah,
I
it's my
know.
practice run for
Because I was sitting out here at like 8:50 something yesterday. I saw you. I'm like, look at her all super early. I
I've
just
been
be
in
sitting out
study
there. I'm like, I am not coming in if I ain't gotta be in there. I will sit out there and listen to my music and get in my zone.
Oh, there you go. So I've been
That's
in
what I
study
be
mode for
driving,
so long.
driving to the music congress. But today I forgot to watch the
I mean, I'm a real
listen to the
Floridian.
videos, so on the way here
Oh, I
listen
know
to
that
them.
when I got here too.
And listen to them really
It's a
quick.
Florida thing. You are truly from Florida when you don't pay attention to the speed limit, and the speed limit is whatever your radio is playing.
True.
I know, is that crazy? And I know what kind of day I'm gonna have by whatever's on the radio. You
Yeah.
know? I'm telling you.
With predictive programming, that's why I have my own playlist.
Yes.
So I set the tone.
Yes,
Never watch the
exactly.
news in the morning.
Oh, me either.
I don't watch
Oh.
news like period. Like I'll go and read.
No, but we learned, like, literally, it was part of a social experiment in the 7th grade.
Oh, really?
Why you should
Oh,
not watch
wow.
the news in the morning or even
Because
listen
it's
to talk
depressing.
radio.
Mhm.
Because it literally sets the tone for the day, and that's why most accidents happen within 5 miles of the home, because
Right.
you more than likely listen to or watch something that
Something.
literally programmed you. It's
Right.
neurolinguistics programming and predictive
Oh,
programming.
wow. How
That's why it's
interesting.
called tell lie vision, and that's why you don't BYV,
Yeah, right.
because it's a big lie.
Uh-huh.
Always look for the truth,
Right.
question everything.
Oh, wow.
That's my inner Mulder and Scully, because I'm a show up ex-father.
I stopped watching the news when my son went into the military.
Oh, God.
He
That would
was,
definitely make me stop too, because I'd be scared to see something.
straight out of boot camp, he went to Iraq. And I became so obsessed. Oh my God, what do you think? Is the third one from the left? What do you think? Is it like, stop, I had to
I even
stop.
carry my crystals on me.
Oh, good for you, yeah.
Is it too loud? Do I need to open the door? Good morning there, my ladies. Go, hello. And who's the mystery person that likes to jump on? If you could say hello, that would be nice. Don't be shy, say hi.
Mystery person?
Mystery. Yeah, I told you guys, we are live over in here, so whatever you guys have going on with that, probably picked it up a long time ago. All right, so we are going to jump right in and do a little bit of checkpoint action to see if or what you guys have been able to pick up and retain. We'll do it as a group. We'll do it as a group. Page 39. Page 39. This should be pretty straightforward. You guys should know all of this stuff. But I want to make sure, and I also want to check to see if there is anyone that completely feels out of.
Can I go to the car real quick?
You got 2 cups and 2 eggs.
Well,
No, I did the 2 for $5 meal, and I get 2 coffees, and 2 hash browns and 2 sandwiches. I left the other hash brown and sandwich that I drink both the coffees, and I literally sat the empty lid on top of the lid that I'd actually need to drink from, so that's what I'm going to do. That would get funny though.
I believe you guys, in addition to going to page 39, pop into your emails, please, and make sure that you have just gotten an email from Andrew.
Not the Giant link.
Yes, Kayak link and login info. Okay, Miss Madison and Miss Andrea, check to see if you guys both got that email as well. And, Andrea, Crystal, why is that look like my person short? Toy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Hannah, we're not, Hannah's not here.
No, I'm talking about this email. Miss Madison, you may not have gotten the email as yet.
I'm a real person.
Okay. So, don't stress the app. If you can do it and listen, go ahead. Go ahead and do that while we're going through this, but that you can always take seconds to do. If you change your password, if you change any password, send it to Jason so he can keep them for you guys. All right, page 39. What is final expense?
simplified issue.
Ooh, that's a problem.
Oh, you want me to keep going?
Yeah, somebody, everybody, because I might need to
Like
go.
permanent simplified issue. I thought I was just saying one word.
Ooh, y'all
Insurance
making me
that covers,
nervous.
that covers burial expenses. That is designed to cover the burial expenses.
Flip to the very first page, table of content, the verbatim definition of final expense, small, affordable, permanent whole life insurance policies regulated by the state, designed for people living on fixed or limited incomes to protect their family against the rising cost of final expenses. So you're gonna want to know that. You're definitely going to want to know that. You're gonna want to know that like it is your first name or maybe a middle name at least. But you do want to know that because that's an easy response to many of statements that clients make. These are small, permanent, whole life insurance policies regulated by the state. A lot of people don't know about them, but you definitely want to be very, very aware of the email, sorry. Okay, Ms. Bassett, I just had requested him to send it to you. You want to be very, very, very familiar with and aware of what that is. Okay, what is simplified issue coverage?
It's coverage that allows us, the, owner doesn't have to go through, medical review.
Yes, it can be underwritten completely over the phone without a medical exam. Uh, 3, what is the most important things to keep in mind when the call first comes through?
Mom, you should
Be
state your name.
happy,
Be happy,
happy to on the phone.
grateful.
Tonality, your voice is your tool. So you want to make sure that you set the tone for the call with the tone of your voice. You also want to make sure that you are setting yourself apart from anyone else that they may have spoken to. You also want to create a sense of alpha call control and have authority in your voice. So those are all very, very, very important things to keep in mind when the call first comes through. Remember, you guys have the mod notes, the quick points for the mods. You have them. So do not get away from your binders. Get used to them. Get comfortable with them. Don't ever get stale. Even after you guys learn the information, you want to make sure that you are going in and keeping yourself fresh. So that you don't end up down the beach. If you guys have not heard Andrew's down the beach analogy, you'll hear it 17 times before you leave for the, I don't know, let's say before the quarter is out. So you are going to want to keep yourself fresh. But yes, call comes in, you are on stage, you should be ready. If you're on cue, you should be ready because the call can come through at any moment, and the fastest way to not have a call listened to or to just easily just know that you're not. If you're off and you're not getting the numbers that you want, and I pop in to listen to a call and you're fumbling through stuff, or there's a long pause before you even say hello, there's really no need to listen to anything else. You're not prepared. What are you doing? What else could you be doing if you're on cue and your call should be coming through? So this is your money. You want to make sure you're on top of that, and how you start the call is definitely a key factor. What is the purpose of mod 2? And what 2 things do we want to get a feel for in mod 2? Rapport, yes.
And two things would be, the clients will not take action today unless they trust you, and be a master of building rapport.
What 2 things do we want to get a feel for in mod 2?
Oh,
Crystal with the C.
I misunderstood.
Oh, like beneficiaries and their money.
Yes. So without asking them
Right.
who's going to be a beneficiary and where you get your money, you want to get a feel for those things. You want to ask the questions. You definitely want to go heavy on who they love, why they love them. Ask them questions. What are their names? Grandkids. You want to get a feel for that. Even if you don't have it tied down to, okay, that's going to be the beneficiary, but you have an understanding of at least a couple of people that they really love, that they're close to, their kids. You want to get that type of information. Again, you don't want to or need to hone it in. If in mod 4, we're asking questions and you're like, well, who would take care of your final arrangements once you're gone? Kenny, Johnny, Sammy, I know you got 3 of them. Which one do you think is more responsible? Then you've already, again, accomplished the purpose of mod 2 because you know the names. You are comfortable with your client, they're comfortable with you, and you can bring it up in mod 4 naturally as opposed to saying anything else or who's going to be your beneficiary. You've established that rapport. So good. Why is certainty and decision important? Miss Karen.
You want them to make a decision today, and you want them to be certain about that decision that they're making today.
Yes, and you want them to feel good about that. You're empowering your clients by giving those little nuggets of certainty and decision. You're making them feel good. You're making them excited. You're helping plant the seed to make a decision today. So yes, perfect. If someone has not had to pay for a funeral before, how do we proceed with the conversation? So in mod for when you're asking them, have you ever had to pay for a funeral? And they say, no, never had to pay for a funeral, never been around anyone paying for a funeral. What's next? Ms. Toy?
Share your story.
Yes. So you share your story. Now, in sharing stories, extension of part, whatever question we're on, in sharing your stories, how do you transition from a story back into the conversation or back into the script? What is it that you're going to use to bring you back?
So that's it.
Yeah, word tracks, transitional statements, but you're gonna want to do certainty and decision. Praise them for not being in that situation because they are making the decision today to put something in place so that that's not the case with their family. I love that we're talking, so your family's not in the situation. So that's awesome that you know and you are being proactive so that you're getting something done and that won't be the situation that your family's in. And I'm so glad I could help you with that. But praise, and certainty and decision so that it ties it all in. So you're not just dumping on them, but then you're building them up for, again, taking action and being proactive and taking care of all of that. Yes? Number 7, if someone has been treated for congestive heart failure in January of 2020, do they qualify for coverage? If yes, what level of benefit? So we got one answer up front. Who else is with us?
I agree.
Modified? Ms. Crystal, okay? Modified?
Yeah.
Yes, within the last 2 years, have you been diagnosed, treated, or prescribed medication for congestive heart failure, cardiomyopathy, stroke, transient ischemic attack, TIA, aneurysm? I think that's a question that it is. I'm doing that from memory, but yes. Yeah. So that would be modified. They do qualify, but modified coverage. Why do we want to ask them if they've been? I don't want to ask if they've been any additional meds. Okay, so I will fix that. But why do we want to ask about 5 years of med history?
So MID pools 5 to 7 years. The more we know, the better we go.
Yes.
Some of those meds also may bump them out if they've ever been on them for any reason. They
So, we're asking 5 years, even though they may not be on it now, the med history will go back at least 5 years. So we want to give ourselves a better chance of being able to accurately quote. The more information you know, the more you can serve, the better you can serve. So yes, we're gonna ask, even if they don't know, you want to ask because it may be something that they know, it may be something that they're glad that they're no longer on. But they know that they've been on it. So yes, we want to know so we can help them and be accurate in the quoting. What is the purpose of response blocking?
To bring them back in, to give them like the,
No, to build a doubt that they can possibly
Right.
not even get approved due to the information that they have given you. So I understand that you're stating you wanna get the full 35,000, however, you told me you're only on Social Security and, you know, with your age and some of these medications, you know, I can't guarantee anything. Like I told you earlier, please don't hold it against me if I can't get you approved.
So you're in the right place, getting there, but that is one type of response to block. But the idea behind response blocking is to get in front any objections or potential objections. So you are addressing concerns before they are even verbalized. So, and also you can do it a lot less. It's some second level selling type stuff. So even with addressing or response blocking without saying, oh, I know you want 35,000, but your health is terrible. But you can do it in a much, you can do it in a much better way by saying, I know we're hoping for this 30, and you don't even have to, if you know it's something that won't happen, you can say, well, hopefully we can, without saying, oh, you want 35, you're not going to be able to afford that. Well, hopefully we can even get approved. Once we get approved, then we can see what's affordable for you. That's the same as addressing, I know you want all this coverage without saying, oh, you're sick as a dog, you might not even be able to. But doubt building is a great way to response block to, okay, yes, we may not even be able to get covered. If we can, hopefully we can get something to where even if you can't pay for everything and even if you can't afford the max, we want to make sure that you can have something in place so that the kids won't have to struggle. Even if you can't leave them something afterwards, because hopefully we can even get approved. But even if we can't get approved for everything, I really just want to make sure that you have something in place so that your kids aren't trying to figure out how to rob Peter to pay Paul or having to do a GoFundMe to come up with these funds. So that's the goal, but we'll see what happens if we can even get approved. And then you move into whatever the next part of the script is. But you want to address concerns without them having to state it. Anything that you think, whether it be about a large policy that they may not be able to afford, or even, oh, my kids, keep talking about the kids, my daughter. Love that you are being proactive and getting this in place for your daughter. So, because sometimes those conversations are difficult to have. So you taking care of this now and protecting her without her even knowing is a beautiful thing. That's such a mom thing of you to do. Your kids think you get old and it's their job to take care of you. But I know and any of you that are mothers can use it. I know as a mother, I feel like it's my responsibility to take care of my kids, whether they're 5 or 95. So that's why I decided to get coverage in place. And I love that you're doing this too. Us moms have to make sure they think they know, but we know best. And those conversations are hard to have. So you won't even have to have that conversation with Johnny. You could just let him know what you got in place for him today. If we get approved, let him know what you have and where it's at so he can find it, as opposed to asking. You don't want them thinking they have to ask the kids anything. Why? For what? Nope, you're doing this for them and you're so wonderful for doing that.
You're so wonderful.
I try. And when is it that we're gonna start pulling quotes? We got one mod 4.
Yeah, like after mod 3.
We got one mod 3.
5.
Oh, we got a mod 5. Okay, 3, 4, or 5. Who's with Karen? Who's with Toy? Who's with Crystal with the C?
Oh, I'm wrong.
Uh-oh.
I'm with Toy.
Uh-oh. Closer, but not right.
After mod 4.
Yes, after mod 4 into mod 5, because in mod 4 you're getting an idea of what it is they want. Burial, cremation, so now you know roughly how much coverage they think it is they're gonna need, but you're in mod 5, you're going over the benefits, which again is the most easy of the mods to get comfortable with and to memorize so that you can be multitasking and maneuvering and speaking to them directly about whatever the product is or the benefit of the product, how it ties to them. Okay, well, whole life, I can talk a little bit about whole life. I know what permanent whole life is, and if it's something that they mentioned before that relates directly to something that they've said, you have a bit of conversation around that while you're pulling your quotes. But you want to be able to get familiar with mod 5 so that you can start pulling quotes, because in mod 2 we have discovered what's
important to them.
Finances, where their money is and how they're getting it and how it's coming. So roughly we have an idea of what they may be able to afford. In mod 3 we figure out
Where are they gonna fall at?
what type of coverage they're going to be eligible for, so you know that. And then in mod 4 we figure out roughly what it is they want or what they're looking for as far as burial or cremation. So those are the 3 things that you need to be able to accurately start pulling these quotes and to keep in mind your quote logic, regardless of what they're saying, you know, as a professional where you're gonna start pulling these quotes. So yes, that is in mod
And then
5, mod 5, yes. At the end of mod 4, you have everything you need so that in mod 5, you can start actually doing. Yes, 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 yes. There's a man in here. It's a man. It's a man. It's a man. You want to talk to the people, Andrew? We just finished doing the first checkpoint, so good timing.
You know, there's stuff you want me to talk about, but I want to talk more about what you were just talking about.
Go
I'm
ahead.
excited, you know, you get all the fun stuff. I'm gonna try and work, you get to talk about all the fun stuff. And is every time when you get out there, you role play and you start doing, every time you do it, it gets easier. And it gets easier, and it gets easier, and it goes, oh, okay, all right, where we have the screen set up, where you bounce around to, it all gets simpler and simpler. And the reason why it's great to pull the quotes in mod 5 is it just because hopefully if we've executed the process, we have a working idea of who we're talking to by then. But mod 5 is the easiest mod to remember. It's real simple to remember. It's a checklist. It's why we're hoping that they get approved, right? It's the build up to that eventual congratulations. And we want that congratulations to have some meaning. So mod 5, there's 5 benefits, right? You have everything right on your page, but if you get that mod 5 piece down to where you know what those 5 benefits are, you can be preparing yourself to pull a quote and be ready when you go into the next mod. And the beautiful part about it is on your very first call, you know infinitely more about final expense than the person you're talking to. If you have to say, hold on one sec, I got the quote tool, I'm checking, seeing what's coming back, hold on, or what? Just give me a second, work with me, all these computers, sometimes, just be a salesperson of that and pull information. They don't know what you don't know, right? Every time you do it gets a little bit easier. That makes sense? Makes sense, right? What do you want me to talk about?
Monies.
So the pay scale is gonna, hopefully it'll start to make sense. And what I can do too for you guys is any specific, I can do a question and answer session. We can break down specific amounts. But the number one thing is to know how you make your commission, right? Which is in the book, and we can break down examples because it's 25% of AEP, right? There's a 9-month advance and you get 25% of that right away. Make sense? $1,200 AEP, that's $100 a month. That equals the $1,200 over the year. The advance is 9 months. You get 25% of the advance. And then in months 10, you get 25% of the premium. Months 11, 25% of the premium. Month 12, 25% of the premium. Now, there's also a 1% commission on all your policies in years 2 through 5. I don't go into that a lot right now because that's 12 months from your first piece of business as that starts to fall. And it's nice because as you write business, especially when you get to month 10 and you're writing new business, plus you're getting the monthly payments from the previous business you wrote, things start to pick up a lot. Then your year 1 biz going into year 2, 1% is not a whole lot. It's a little bit here and there, but every little bit helps. As you keep going, it builds and it builds and it builds. We also have some quarterly bonuses based on placement and persistency. But I don't want that information to get in the way of the information you need to learn right now. And we can go over it, but the best way to hit that bonus is to learn the process and execute it every time. If you do that, you're going to be in alignment for the quarterly bonuses that are being placed as well. And we'll go over the details of that. I want you guys to learn the process first. We don't learn step 1, step 2, and 3, right? It's there. And the quickest way to get to it, that money, is to learn the process and go through all the learning part, right? Licenses I want to talk about too. So for your state licenses, as your prosperity contracting comes back, we're going to help you with your state licenses to get started. Okay, so there's really 4 states in particular where if you have those 4, you're going to be getting calls. We can add more as we go. And the way we're going to help you out with that is, if you don't have them, which I don't think anybody does, even
What are the states?
you're the one had all the states, right? Daryl, I checked them all. You just appointed for health and annuities. There's no life appointment.
I should be on by 215, my health and.
Well, that's your Florida is good. The other states, it's just adding a line of authority, which we can do similar to what I'm talking about here. It's just adding it. But I checked it because I learned the hard way without someone who was doing Medicare, and they're like, I have all my states, so I just put them all in, thinking. And then business was coming back to there. I'm like, what do you mean they're not licensed? And I dug through and saw, oh. So we'll make sure calls are coming. Now the way that's going to work is that's going to be a $500, roughly cost to the biz, and we'll pay that. And you guys are going to pay that back in very conservative amounts once you start making commission. For example, the way I've been doing it with anybody else is $25 a check. In your payroll, you'll see the state licenses, how much they cost. $25 a check until you pay 50% of those. We're going to pay 50% of the first ones, those first states. So over the course of 6 to 8 weeks, whatever, it's paid back. And then we can add states as we want to with the same deal, right? If you want to add them yourself to have them all at once, you can pay for it. Great. If not, we'll pay for it and do the same thing. Want it to be easy for you guys to add states and get more calls. But there's, we got Texas, California, we already have Florida, Alabama, North Carolina, and now Tennessee. There's a couple that are interchangeable that we'll mix and match a little bit. But you're going to be getting calls all the time just with those states. But it's always good to add as we go. And the major point is we're going to help you so that you can get going right away. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
GAIAC links.
We'll touch on that. They got them, but we have.
Okay, you guys will go over it. Right in front of me is the bonus level breakdown. I just don't want to go into the levels. They're quarterly. If you are average, you'll make a bunch more money. If you're above average, you'll make a bunch more money than that. So they're set to be very conservative so that you guys can be successful. But it's also some levels that are higher to where you can make some big time money if you decide that you want to be great, which I recommend in general. What other things do you want me to address right now, Mo, that aren't processed, that are just procedures? Licenses, the pay scale breakdown is going to make more sense the more we break it down. I mean, I can send an example of payroll to somebody if you want, everyone, like take the name out, just kind of send a commission breakdown of a 2-week deal. I mean,
Yeah.
Some of yours might be intimidating. I was jealous.
The appointments with other carriers and writing business. We do not.
Oh, yeah, guys, that's a real important one. So any of the leads that are generated here can only be written with carriers you're appointed with here. Okay, you can't go write another with leads that are generated in our system and take that out and go somewhere else and write business with a carrier. That's a big one. All right, that's just protecting the data in the systems. We have right now we're just getting you going with Prosperity because that's our main lead, but we have a couple other carriers that we're going to get appointed with too, and they're relatively all the same, little variations, right? They have a different portal that you go through to submit an underwriting, maybe a health question variation or two, but at the end of the day, it's final expense. So we have something to cover anybody who could come over, just about. And in the scenario, which shouldn't happen very often, that you have somebody under the age of 50, but that wants to write policies, we have a carrier that does that, and we'll refer that to someone that's appointed with that carrier and have them write it. You'll get paid for it. Right? We've done it in the past. The carrier that does it is not one that we want to be writing a whole lot of biz with. They're not very reliable. It's just we've moved on from them, but we've kept them with a couple of agents just for that particular case where somebody's under the age of 50 and they want to write a policy. Typically, in the times that has happened, it's been, I want to write one for my kids too, right? Okay, well, $35,000 of coverage for a 30-year-old or a 22-year-old is going to be an AEP of $110 for the whole year. It's almost not even, it's worth it because you want to serve your customer and you want to do the right thing, but it's not a focus of money making in any way, shape, or form. But we want to be versatile enough to where somebody can do it. Make sense?
Andrew, what would you say the average number of policies, the agent rates per week?
And on average, it's around 8 to 10. What I'd like to see is 10 to 12. Kenny last week had 13. Nelson had 10. Angela had 9. Elaine had 10. And there were a handful of 6s and 7s in there. What I tell everyone is there are 2 policies every day in there if we're executing the process and learning it and building and being thorough. And that doesn't just mean the pitch itself. It's how we take our notes, how we schedule our callbacks, how we work what's come previously. Because sometimes sometimes you won't get 2 fresh ones in a day. But if you're working callbacks and you're setting yourself up, you will get a day where you get 3 or 4. And it was a real mindset shift for me getting into the biz, because all of the other sales things I've done before, not all of them, but in this type of setting, we're all pretty instant gratification, where it was today. Now today's over, tomorrow. And that's not totally how this works. We've got live stuff every day. It might not necessarily pay us for a couple of weeks. There may be someone that you got to get on a callback a couple days later. But as you build that continuity, you may have a day with 0 and then have a day with 4. Or have a day with 1 and then a day with 1, then a day with 1, and then a day with 4. But it seems to be if you stay in the game and execute the process, there's always 10 in a given week. It's just a matter of if we get them or not. And that's why you'll hear us talk a lot about managing our time and our data. You know, if we're not over 25 hours of talk time a week, well, then there's probably not going to be 10 policies for you. I mean, that's like the bare minimum. But sometimes I'm looking at, let's age of 22 hours of talk time. You're not going to make the money you want to make, right? Unless we're doing the work. And that's the foundation of it. Once you start to do that and build continuity, you start to realize, oh man, well, maybe once or twice a week or once every other week, I'm going to schedule some callbacks on a Saturday for 2 hours. Just because I know that this and that one and this one can really only be contacted then. It's when they said it's best. I'm only going to make those calls on people that I know have a high likelihood of answering and going through, and I'm just going to give myself 2 hours once a month. Or one day a week, I'm going to make sure that I can work until 6:30. Because there may be a bunch of people throughout the day that have a better call. Every night, everybody who's here after 6 is writing multiple policies. It's a high contact time. So you start to learn the lay of the land a little bit and how to get there. But on average, anywhere from 8 to 10. Then AEP, which is what we get paid on commission-wise, right? That varies. And I try not to put a big focus push on making that the priority. Because if that's the priority, we go into trying to pitch people high dollar amounts. And that's not necessarily what serves them, right? A $20 a month premium that stays in force forever is worth infinitely more than a $200 a month premium that never pays. You know, so it's finding that happy that middle space. And you learn it as you go. What you guys were talking about when I came in, for example. We're finding out information throughout the entire process that helps us appropriately quote them, right? But as you get going, you start to realize that one thing a lot of new agents do when they come out is they quote real low prices. Everything's real low. And they have some varying success as they go, but all of their AEPs are $400, $500. I don't know why my AEPs are so low. Well, if you don't give yourself a chance for a higher AEP, then you're setting yourself up to fail, but you don't want to try and shove something down someone's throat that doesn't serve them. So here's what I mean by that. When you're going to pitch your 3 quotes, you have a middle, a high, and a low. A high, middle, and low. What do you want about? A high, middle, and low. You want your high amount to be just that. You know that they're on Social Security. Seems like they're on a pretty fixed income based on what you've pulled from them. There's not a whole lot of disposable income, but you don't want your high amount to be $20 a month. You're gonna have other amounts. You want your high amount to be up there. Your high amount should never be anything lower than $60 or $70 a month premium. Even if you don't think they can afford it, that's okay. That's why we give 3 amounts, and that's why we can dance afterwards. We want that high amount to be something, because we don't always know. You have some people who you don't think have any money. You put that amount, and they go, well, how much is the one up from that? Well, sure. It happens, and it will happen. But more likely than not, they're going to select out of year 3 one of the amounts. So if the option isn't even there for a higher premium, higher face value amount, you're setting yourself up. You're not giving yourself a chance to even have the shot. Your middle should be a high middle, and your low should be a high low. Every call is a little different on that. When I say a high low amount, your lowest amount. If your lowest amount is always at the $20 premium a month, there's not a whole place to go under that, right? You're not giving yourself any room to work. If your low amount is $35 or $40 a month premium, and there's hesitation, and so tell me, which amount do you want to go to Andrea when that day comes? A check for $10,000, a check for $8,000, or a check for $7,000? And they pause, or they don't say an amount. The power of you coming back and saying, I tell you what, here's what we'll do. Go ahead and circle that lowest amount. Because the most important thing is that we take advantage of the approval today. We can always add more coverage later. That accomplishes a whole bunch of stuff when you think about it in terms of where it happens in the process. We've built rapport. We've gone through some stuff together. We've learned about each other. They're believing in the things you're saying. They're realizing for themselves that they need it. And then you're telling them to circle the lowest amount. Oh, wow. They're not trying to push something on me. They're not trying to shove something down my. They're saying circle the lowest amount. The most important thing is that we get coverage today. And if we have built the rapport the right way, and we've spoken certainty and decision, and we've told our stories, and we've praised, they will be conditioned to respond to your direction. Go ahead and circle that lowest amount. The most important thing is we take advantage of the coverage today. And what's your middle initial? R. Then you go. You're into mod 7. Mod 6, mod 7. 7. So the other thing that happens there, right, from a mindset standpoint, is that that one is still a little bit too high. Okay, well, these coverages hard to get, hard to take. Let me see what I can do. Hold on one second. You're not going anywhere. You're running another quote for less dollars. What if we could get a quote here for this? I mean, getting something in place is better than nothing. Having some money coming is better than, if we can get $18, $20, $25 a month, would that be easier for you? Would that make sense? Yes. All right. I don't know if I can do it. Hold on. Hey, we got it done. It's going to be this much for that much. Congratulations. Write that down. Circle it. Write it down. Circle it. Circled it? Yes. And what's your middle initial? We'll keep going. But if we don't give ourselves any room to work there, we're cutting out opportunity. So it's stuff that'll come as we move through the process, and as you guys start writing policies, you're going to start saying, oh, okay, I see, all right, and it starts to make a little bit more sense. And you start to find the ways to get to your money in a way that serves the person the best way too. Because remember, and I'll leave you with this note because I know I just keep talking.
No, you're not bad. Check to see if Andrea or Madison have any questions.
Good morning. Madison, Kate, not yet. Madison, Kate, got it.
So no questions in other words. Okay, thank you.
I want to be careful when we recap and go over, just kind of brush over the top of stuff. What's the purpose of Mod 2? Well, we're getting information so we know them and where their money comes from. Mod 4, we're going to find out if they want to be cremated or buried. Right? Yes, but that is background. That's stuff that's for us in the background. The way that we can rely on that information and move through the process is to accomplish the energetic significance of the mod, which is getting to know who you are, what you're all about, what do you love, what makes you tick. Tell me a story. Right, based on where do you live, how long you live there, kids, all that. We're gathering information for ourselves so that we can better serve as we move through the call. But if that's all we're trying to accomplish, you're going to get a whole lot of 45-minute hangups. You're gonna move through mods, you're gonna get to mod 4, and it's gonna be, so do you wanna be cremated or buried? Not why, not have you ever had to be a part of a situation where what, tell me more, how did that, oh, let me tell you you're so, it's just, do you want to be cremated or buried? Why? Well, because that's how I was taught. Okay, cool, it's gonna be less expensive, and we move on. There's no impact, there's nothing happening that is making it their decision to protect their family. And the way that you know you're not having impact, specifically in mods 2 and 4, is when you get to those quotes, or you get through the quote and get to the data pull, and they say, no, well, thanks so much, but I gotta go. There's nothing that sucks more than 45, 50 minutes, and you don't even get a chance to rebuttal. You don't even get a chance to overcome. And that's what response blocking is, right? That's what getting in front of all that. That's building that throughout the pitch and gathering the information that comes naturally from accomplishing the why behind each module.
This makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No.
Right. I
That's
told him
like-
earlier, well, might have to go home.
We should have an interpreter. So we know. Visualize today's success. What else? Anything that you guys could think of off the top of your head while I'm here for a couple minutes?
This segment is called Ask Andrew.
Oh, geez. It doesn't even have to be about insurance. What's going on in life?
What's your favorite color?
It is blue. But you know, I've noticed, you can see there's no simple question with me, is there? There's
No,
always,
like a lot more yellow.
over time, and depending on how in tune I am energetically with different things that are going on, my favorite color will shift. But typically it's blue.
I've noticed a lot of men it's blue.
You
I don't know
wear
if
a
it's
lot
like
of blue.
inbred, if it's when they're born, it's boys wear blue and girls wear pink.
Oh man, conditioning? You think I've been conditioned to like blue? I'm changing it up. I don't like blue anymore. Just because you said that. What's your favorite color?
I don't know if I really have one. I like teals.
Blue.
That's
Blue
a
is
sophisticated
green.
blue.
Well, that's in guy talk.
Green.
That's in the blue family, right? Yeah. Blue.
They're calming, they're cooling, they're soothing.
Sure. Let me think.
You guys need me to step out so y'all can complain about me?
What?
No, I know all the stuff already.
Girl, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it to you.
Oh,
Not behind
okay.
you.
Yeah,
I'm with her on that.
yeah, definitely.
I'm sorry, but I think, maybe I'm the only one, I really wanna know more about the money.
Okay, let's
I
go.
really do.
So tell me.
I wanna know details, the breakdowns, the bonuses,
Sure.
everything. You know, 8 to 10 policies is average, cool. Where does that fall on the quarterly balance, on the quarterly bonus structure? You know, I get that the payout is gonna be different, because policies are gonna be different
Sure.
amounts.
Yep.
So I get all of that, but
What, so I can do all versions of this, but I'm asking just so I know how to serve you the best way to get your questions answered. Would it, and in general, because it'll help me get better at presenting, because this is an important part of the deal, you know, would it be best for me to run middle of the ground agents last 6 months and give, like, literally bring a report that has their average AP, their average placement, and their average persistency, so that I can just go over the placement and persistency bonuses in a way? Would it be better for me to kind of just describe what they are now and do that for some background? Would it be better for me to do both of those things and then come back in for another question and answer? I don't want there to be hesitation or questions on how to get to your money, and I understand that the way I'm bringing it up leaves, I'm still looking for ways to paint the picture before you know what the things mean on how to get to the things, and I want to be better at it. So what do you think?
I think both would be good, and, you know, if we have any questions, we'll ask, and then, you know, if a follow-up is needed.
Okay.
You know, great, but I don't think a follow-up will be needed.
Maybe some examples though would help just in the future, but I could do some now too, just
Right, even just raw, you know, hypothetical situations, okay, there's, you know, in a month or, you know, we're getting paid out as soon as the first payment goes in, right? So it's
sure,
not-
it's timeframes.
So we don't have to worry about, waiting until the end of the month.
Right. So we get paid every 2 weeks, and all of your policies that fund during that 2 week period are on that check. So, you know, it could be a a whole bunch of them. A lot of times it fluctuates with the time of month, right? If the 2-week period, the first and the third fall in the middle of that 2 weeks, that's going to be where probably 70 or 75% of your effective dates are hitting. That particular time frame of the month is going to have a bigger commission check than one that is from the 15th to the 29th, where a smaller amount of your new business is going into effect. This brings up good stuff.
Just a question about the check. So our commission will already be taxed for us, right? We don't have to file a separate.
Right, it's gonna be, so Guide to Insure, the agency gets paid the commission from the carrier, and then we pay out the commission percentage directly to you guys on your check with your salary.
Okay.
Right, so it's just like a, yeah,
No, so this isn't real estate, it's not like a draw system.
right. And it's not a 1099 deal, right, where you have to work out,
Yeah, that's good.
it just gets a little messy for, you know,
It's messy for everybody.
so. And the other nice thing about this is it gives me some freedom to, no? What I mean, let's say that it gives me some freedom to correct anything should there ever be an issue, which there never is. But if you were getting paid directly from a carrier and let's say they messed up your percentage, I can't help you. There's not that. But when it comes directly here and we pay it there, I know that we're doing the calculations. And if we were to mess up a calculation, I know I can correct it right away. Instead of it being, well, we got to make a phone call and we got to go over here. We got to get them to send it over there. And then hopefully they'll be able to do this, but you're not going to see it for 6 months. If I run a spiff, right, $100 for this, $100 for that, I could pay it directly. Right, we have a couple of agents still that are totally remote who we tried doing the 1099 thing with. I can't include them on that stuff because I don't have any way of paying them because they get paid directly from the carrier. Does that make sense? So I want to give you specific examples, but let's talk just to throw out in the words how the bonuses work in the quarter and then how they move forward. So there's 2 main categories. And we'll talk more about them until it's ingrained in your brain holes. The first one is placement. The second one is persistency. Both are very important to where you make your money. Of all of the policies that you write, however many of them pay successfully their first premium, that's your placement percentage. If you write 10 and 8 pay their first premium, 80% of what you're writing places. You got an 80% placement. Does that make sense?
No, that's based on first premium.
Right,
Okay.
right. That's I submitted an application. Of all the applications I've submitted, how many are paying that first premium successfully? That's my placement. We want that number to be at 80% or higher. Persistency is of everything that has placed, how much of it stays in force over time. Right? And that's a running total that varies as you go. On a 12-month average, we want that to be over 80%. So if we're over 80% in both those categories, we're doing pretty good. So in the quarterly bonus piece, I wanted there to be some money that if we're just following the process we're going to make, but also some opportunity to make bigger money than even that. So the bonuses are run each quarter for placement and persistency. And you guys will have a sheet. I mean, this is going to, you don't have to just listen to the words. I want to get some specific examples, but we'll also pass out the breakdown on paper. Every quarter for placement is the bonus period, right? January 1st to March 31st. Those bonuses to get paid and calculated get done 30 days out from the quarter ending. So the quarter 1 bonuses will be calculated and paid in the pay period that April 1st falls on. Make sense? It gives your deals the time they need to go. If I were to run it on April 1st, you're going to have a bunch of deals that you just wrote in the last week that are still, we don't know if they've gone through or not. They're going to technically count against your placement. You don't want that. You want those deals to have a chance to make sure they go through so the number that we're calculating is accurate. Yes? So every quarter, that's how it goes. It's the second quarter is calculated July 1st, third quarter, October 1st, fourth quarter, January 1st for placement. The levels are, if you're between 70 and 74%, by the way, isn't real good, is a $500 bonus. Okay? 75 to 79% is a $750 bonus. 80% to 84% is a $1,000 bonus. And 85% or higher is a $1,500 bonus per quarter. And on average, about half the people are above 80, and the other half are somewhere between 75 and 79, depending, fluctuates. That's every quarter. Persistency is similar, a little bit of a difference. With persistency, it starts and is calculated and paid as a bonus every quarter, but it runs a total. So for example, the first period of, let me get the numbers right, of persistency is calculated from January 1st to March 31st. Calculated on April 1st to give time for the deals, just like in placement. And there are 3 levels. I'll tell them to you in a second. The second quarter, though, when that's calculated, it's calculated on from January 1st through June or whatever month it is.
So it's a running total.
For persistency.
Gotcha.
Placement, we segment it out as a snapshot. Persistency runs as a total. And 75 to 79% is a $500 bonus. 80 to 85%, $750. Anything above 85 is $1,000. So typically, every quarter, you should get at least an additional $2,000 bonus, which is nice. And that's middle of the road, right? You go get above and beyond, you start, it's even more. And I want to be able to do more and more for us as we continue to grow and move through things, but it's kind of as the opportunity gets created for me to go pitch ways to make us more money, I do. So 50 policies submitted in 3 months. Hopefully you have way more than that, but let's just take 50. 40 of them place. What is your placement percentage? 80%. Of those 40 that place, if all 40 of them are actively paying their premiums, what's your persistency?
100%.
So you start out at 100%, which is why the rolling total, it accumulates over time. Because that first quarter, January 1st through March 31st, everybody better be hitting the top level persistency bonus, right? Because the business you've written is new, it's placed, we know that. When business places, typically it's paying its premium. As the months go on, there's stuff that happens, but we save deals, we rewrite, there's a whole bunch of different ways to keep that business in force. But in that first 30 days, or 90 days, you should be over 90%. A deal or two may fall off, maybe not. We go to 6 months out, and we got to keep the business in force as we move through it, right? And that's why with placement, it's a running total of going back to January 1st.
Persistent is running.
We got to think of words that don't start with the same letter and kind of sound the same. That's not really adding to my clarity of the message. So that's how the bonus levels work.
Mhm.
And then there's the per deal when it pays. So I'm going to do a breakdown of a pay period. I'm going to take real numbers from a hypothetical agent, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to send everybody a breakdown of payroll. It's what you can expect to see every 2 weeks, which is your salary, right? Your deals that are funded and how much commission and the totals. And I'm just going to take one person, I'll take a few segments, and I'll add a couple columns to help you understand how the calculation works, because on the commission pay on your payroll, it's just the amount. But I'll put in there who it was, what the AEP was, how that total got calculated. And then we'll have that to combine with kind of what we talked about. And by the end of the week, I'll come back in, we'll do another 10 or 15 minutes. Just kind of connected any dots.
That sounds good. The other thing I'd like to talk about is how chargebacks work.
Okay, so chargebacks work exactly like the pay structure works. So they're prorated, and they apply to the advance. So let's take the even number, $1,200 AEP, $100 a month premium. First premium gets paid, 9-month advance. If that then cancels in 3 days, and we can't save it, and commission has already been paid, all of commission gets charged back. If it pays its second month and then cancels, 7/9 would get charged back. If it pays so it goes the whole way. So if you get to the 8th month and there's 8 successful premiums paid, and the 9th it cancels, there would only be 1 month of commission charged back. And then once you're out of the 9 months, you're out of the chargeback period. If it canceled in the 10th or 11th month, there's no chargeback, but you wouldn't get that month's commission, and it wouldn't rotate into the 1% rollover into year 2 through 5.
Right. So, which is the importance of being able to make sure it's something affordable so the policy stays in effect. But is it, if we've already been paid out, I mean, what kind of warning do we have that we're going to get hit with, you
Sure.
know, a chargeback that we're
Great
going to have
question.
to eat on our paycheck?
Great question, and it's another piece where it's nice for me to have some of the freedom to move. Let's say, think of a hypothetical example. One, we will never charge back anything lower than 0 commission. I mean, you'll never have any of your salary ever charged back into, right? You were at one policy this week, you got paid commission on it. Next week it canceled and there's nothing on your check besides that. I'm just using this as an example. Hopefully it's not ever a real one. We're not gonna subtract out of your salary the amount, right? So that'll always be there. The way that you know when it's coming is you'll get updates every day once we get an agency block a little bit, you see how it works. You'll be up to date on your biz. You'll know when a policy charges back and when it doesn't. That's the best heads up is agency block, because everything is there and up to date.
So we're able to track our policies, where they're at.
Absolutely. And we'll go as we get our numbers back from Prosperity and as we get into agency block a little bit this week. I hope it'll start connecting some of the dots on how to be comprehensive. And I love these questions because this is how you get to the bonus levels, right? Is that understanding. And it's something that we try to get better at all the time here because we have all the tools to be on top of everything that we need to be on top of. But if we don't use them, you leave yourself in gray areas where there's swings and it ends up, well, it's not my fault. Well, everything is us. Everything happens for us. It's all there. You're going to get, just taking Prosperity, for example, you're going to get a daily summary email every single day from Prosperity. Any action on any policy you've ever written that happened overnight will be in there, whether it's a deal going from a pending status to enforce to paid, whatever it could be, a deal that had an insufficient funds, 20 days to save, and then we have somebody who's helping us, assist us in calling those back and trying to clean it up for us and making notes.
So you
But-
have somebody in the back end.
Right, and they do a great job, but I tell everyone the same thing. It's my money. I'm gonna just be making sure. I'm gonna be checking notes and okay, Angela made that call back. There's comprehensive notes. I feel good about it. Or okay, I see it, but I'm also gonna maybe try and give it a call back or reach out. But it's all an agency block. I mean, it's all there. And as long as we're updating agency block properly, which really you'll learn is any contact you have, just be a little note, right? Left a voicemail, called and they wanted to change their premium date from this day to that date. Reminder set to call on that date to send it. Little things, but it's all in there to help us not have to remember anything.
So agency block is like our electronic address book.
It's a fancy CRM.
Okay, so how's it organized? Like, and I know we're gonna go over it, but just
Yeah.
on a high level, you know, since there's multiple agents, when I log into agency block, is it just showing mine?
Yeah, so you'll just have access to your book of business. Everyone, and the calls that come to you too, not just your sales. Because every time a call comes in and pops up on your screen, which you guys will see too very shortly, agency block automatically pops the screen generating an entry for that individual. And it will have all the information that we have, which, by the way, is a nice thing. A lot of places, a call gets transferred over and it's, hey, this is Jeff. He lives in Tampa. Need anything else? No. And you got to go. Being that the call center is right here and we have their name, their email address, their date of birth. These things, so it all populates right in Agency Block for you. Now, as you move through the process, you can take your notes in Agency Block that are going to help you with your pitch. When you sell a policy, we'll go over how to add a policy and put the information in so that it's all concise and all in one place and will only be yours. And it's very searchable by that. Number of different little reports and things, which I have a feeling you're going to like to dig into because you get as detailed as you want. And hopefully you'll teach me a few things on it because
You already know.
the rabbit hole goes deep and it can be as intricate as you want it to be or as surface level as you want it to be. But somewhere in the middle is your happy place of making sure the main things are done, getting some continuity into every day, how I check it. It's why we have the daily checklist. Let's come in, make sure stuff's matching up. I got this prosperity email that says client called in to change their effective date to this. Let me follow up and make sure I do that over here. It becomes something you want to do and isn't cumbersome. We just haven't learned it yet. We haven't got to the functionality of it. But really, it's electronic address book. I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
That's a Palm Pilot.
It is. It's just meant to help us to keep organized. And there's some great advantage of that. And on top of that, you're going to have access in the carrier portal to all your stuff. So when you're an agency, or not agency, but when you go to the Prosperity agent portal, the carrier portal itself, they're going to have all your business and all your correspondences. So there's cross checks to cross checks to cross checks. Agency Block is our home base.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, my question was, I'm new, so I don't know how common chargebacks are.
Mhm.
But like, since we're getting taxed, right, off our paycheck on this commission, and then we get chargebacks, do we get like at the end of the year when it's tax time, like how much we got taxed off of chargebacks? Because, to file our taxes, that way we're not
It's all
overcounting.
It's all in there,
calculated.
it's all calculated.
Yeah, I don't know that it's line items, but there won't ever be a scenario where you have $100 charge back that you're getting charged back more than what you were paid.
So on your paycheck, what it'll do is like in real estate, so if you get a charge back for one reason or another, and then you have commissions coming in on top of that, it'll take from that commission and it'll charge taxes on the commission you're actually getting paid.
And then it'll
so
show on your
I-
taxes,
so-
it'll only show the actual income earned.
Okay, all right.
Chargebacks, the commission paid and cancels out any chargebacks.
Okay,
Yeah, you can't get taxed on chargebacks.
that's what I was like,
No.
because it's not 1099, so I didn't know how
Yeah.
that works.
I've got a separate account for myself that all that money goes into. Taxable chargebacks.
Yeah, just making sure. I don't know.
Agency Block.
Y'all know me, y'all know me.
No, you're good, girl.
Oh,
I
You
did
have
have
to
a,
ask, if you don't understand something and you let it eat at you, all you're gonna
Always
do is get
ask.
Think about
frustrated. And then, and you're either gonna go, oh, well, screw it, and you're gonna go on not knowing something, and then when it comes in front, you're gonna be upset with yourself because you don't understand it, and it bit you in the butt, instead of asking and getting in front of it and being like, okay, now I got this. Doesn't matter if you have to ask 10 times, just ask.
Oh, I know. How many questions do I ask a day?
I know, ask.
Don't hesitate,
But
guys.
I've
I want
always
to.
done like that.
I want us to get better too. And this is how it happens, right? Ways to communicate things, ways we can do things. It's never, everything that I'm working on every day is to try and make things more streamlined and efficient so that you guys can write business easier and it be
not worry about
at your
it.
fingertips, right? Yeah, I'm working on something with the guys out in Utah that are where we're trying to get all of this different stuff into one tool, right? And that's a big job. But if we could have all of it into one tool and you're not having to go to GIAC, to Agency Block, to your script, and have them all open, it could be all in one place. It's going to improve your efficiency and productivity. More deals get written, more money for you, more money for the biz, more growth, right? So this is a great spot to be in because you're learning all the components almost separately.
Mhm.
And we're trying to overlap them as best we can. And stuff like this gets my brain ticking. The next class that comes in, I will serve a little bit better with how the pay works and have more of a breakdown all in one place to then discuss, to then give examples about, to then have a question and answer session because of you guys. So always ask the questions because there's a likelihood that if you have it,
Somebody else does.
So health benefits.
oh geez, with the questions. After 90 days, it's we pay 50%. I'm working on making that better, but that's all I can tell you right now because I haven't got it done yet.
Who's it through?
Is it Blue Cross Blue Shield?
So is it, so I don't know much about insurance. for,
Neither
like,
do I
health
really.
insurance.
Yeah.
But like, I already have like Blue Cross Blue Shield. How does that work? Like, would I have to,
It's an available benefit after 90 days. You can or can't take advantage
so I
of.
can just keep my
Right.
current or switch?
Right.
Okay.
And
Check it out once the 90 days hits and.
I'm hoping to have a few more things by then for
HR
us, too.
will have, you can always ask HR specifics too.
I thought you were doing HR too now.
Mm,
Not janitor, HR lady, top salesperson, trainer,
President.
Jack of all trades.
All those
On
hats,
those hats.
Andrew handler.
all those hats.
She's my handler. I can't even go out in public without Marie.
You
Like,
don't know how to act. Good stuff. Ladies, in the wonderful world of the rest of the world, y'all have any questions for Ask Andrew?
feel free to shoot me an email too, guys, because you have my email if you think of something. Stay focused in here. This is a important time, but in the in-between times.
And you do get conservation emails as far as chargebacks and stuff. They'll send you the notices from Prosperity. They send the status report, so you'll know if it's a missed payment or if they've called to cancel. They'll give you an opportunity. You just have to be on top of the Prosperity status email.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about all that.
It's never shocking. It's always this happened. You have this much time before this happens to prevent that.
So they
from
give you a chance to go back and call that particular
Yeah,
person and
These are
say,
your people.
hey, do we just need to change?
Hey, I'm your
status?"
agent for life. Remember
Even
that
if it's-
hour and a half we spent on it? So that's why
Like,
learning
give my
this
money.
and doing this right is going to help all of that back end stuff, make it a lot easier.
connecting the dots with the process. How it's not just the words. It's the
Mhm.
them remembering who you are. Right? They may get a few different calls, but we have plenty of examples here where that's happened. I mean, no, Kenny Rios is my guy. I'm not talking to you because he did such a good job with the process. And then there was one guy who was great. Kenny was like 6 months down the road and something happened with his account. He didn't even think about it. Kenny called him up. He had his notes up. So he said, hey, it's Kenny Rios, your final expense. How'd the move go? You were moving to wherever. He's like, you remember that? It's like, yeah, just, and I want to go over this. Oh, I'm so sorry. Kenny got it enforced. But because he had the impact by executing the process, he wasn't just a
person.
there was some
Just wasn't a voice over the phone.
there was some memory because they connected. And that's kind of what final expense in particular, and everything, but final expense in particular is what separates us from a lot of the other folks. Oh geez, my daughter's calling, this can't be good. Okay. Oh, sweet girl. That's when she was like 4, now she's 13. Yes, my
Wait
angel.
till she's.
I have
All
one more
right.
question.
No.
What's
Question and
that?
answer session is over.
It's an easy question.
Okay.
Just, you know how they give you 20 days, like if there was a mispayment, if somebody actually called the insurance company and canceled over the phone, do they automatically cancel it over the phone, or do they give you a heads up like a couple days?
The
so that you can reach out?
conservation notice, they will send you an email the next day, the status report. And it'll say conservation notice, 10 days to save, client call to cancel.
Okay, so
you'll-
you do still have time even if that way, alright, that was it.
Yeah, because you want every opportunity to be able to go back and talk
And
to
you're
that
their
client.
agent, and they don't want to cancel, Prosperity doesn't want to
Cancel it
cancel,
either.
so, yeah, they want
That's
you
true.
to, right, they want you to try to save all those policies and reach out, and again, this first hour that you spend on the line with the client is huge to be able to call back. Number one, to have them answer the phone. So when you're giving the phone number, you're not just giving it. Make sure you write that down. Like, again, don't just move through the script to move through it. make sure that your client or potential client is engaged. Make sure they're understanding what you're saying. If you hear them get too quiet, don't just be so caught up reading that you're just reading. And you still with me? Remember that last one? That was good. You want to make sure that you are accomplishing the purpose of each mind. And 4, we're not just asking the questions to ask follow-up questions, make them feel feelings, emotions sell, and information tells. Words tell, emotions sell. So you want to make sure that this is an emotional sale. You want to get them engaged, get them involved, make sure that they're there. Don't just move forward because I read through all of it. If you feel like in my 2 or even in my 3, you ask the health questions and they said no to everything, but you don't feel like they were truthful, go back. We were good on that, right? Those medications, that was, you want to make sure that you are touching before you move forward. If you're just moving forward because, oh, got to the end of that page, you're doing yourself a disservice, completely doing yourself a disservice. Even with the role playing, you guys want to make sure that you are, don't give each other a hard time, but you want to make sure that you are working through how to have these conversations. And not, at this point, you shouldn't just be reading anymore. At this point, you should know the words enough to be able to deliver it and to really get the concept of each mind down. So with that being said, questions, comments, concerns, we'll take a break until 11:05. 11:05.
Does anybody want the air still? Like,
I want it off.
yeah,
Is
it
it
says
on?
75, but I think it's so cold outside that
That
it's
is
still
not
freezing.
yeah.
So turn it up like.
Does anybody know if there's any ice in the freezer in the break room?
There might be, I wouldn't use it.
I have no
That's why I fill my cup up with ice before I get here and just use it.
Yeah, it might be some in there. Matter of fact, sometimes Jason, 11:05, ladies, and good luck, Miss Madison. What am I saying?
I know.
Oh, sometimes Jason brings a ice tray, but not always, so I don't know. If it is, it would be in the one that's against the wall with the vending machines. I think the one to the right has a freezer, the other ones don't.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
heart attack. And, you know, during times like that, insurance company, I have a state license. I would wish that if I were worse at me. Submitting an application with you over the phone today, and that's without you having to worry though, ma'am, about spending any money today. All right.
have the finances to take care of it. I just through the sound of the voice and telling the truth. So,
So you have to have an insurance license for both sides?
Both sides of one?
So like on that side where they generate the leads and on this side?
No, not generate leads, you don't need a license.
Oh, okay. I was kind of confused.
Why would you be in trouble with one line?
I don't know who to tag at the moment. Just leave it right there. I never really tag
But I don't
people.
know who to tag.
Well, because I never really tag people for like posts, but it's a new Friday event, so I'm
Now,
trying to
are
tag.
those individual or clusters or strips?
I think because when they come out like a fan. Like, you know
Is
how
it
they
an
fan
individual
on?
and then it just spreads out like 3D, 6D, or is it the
Mhm.
actual cluster like what they do at the nail shops?
I don't know what they do at the nail
How
shop.
much do you pay? It's
125.
individual.
Okay.
So
I'm like,
those
what
are
do they do?
90. they're
Are you
like
talking about
60.
the ones that you get from the dollar store that you can put on yourself, the individual ones?
Yeah,
That's what they
clusters.
do.
No, those aren't individuals. They're clusters.
Well, you-
Individual is what you have. You should probably get them in the brown. You should do the brown because it won't be so. It makes your eyes look very dark and
I don't know
small.
if she's that brown. I guess I could ask her.
'Cause
But I need to dye my hair too, because once I dye my hair
I
back,
was
because
gonna
right
say,
now
if
my
you dye
hair
your
is so
your
light.
Eyebrows.
My hair is so light right now. Like
I
it keeps getting
love-
lighter and lighter.
I love the what like the Jessica
Well, I'm finna go back red hair, but I just,
So then you definitely.
but I have to go to the
brown.
salon to do it because my hair is too many colors and I, in my, just slide, never
Speaking
mind.
of hair, I'm getting my hair this Friday after work. I'm so excited.
I was so-
I'm happy for hair, cause hair is how I've been making my money doing hair and makeup. Other than that, I'd be a real broke bee right now. Thank you for YouTube and sponsorships. That's all I gotta say.
You do hair?
Yeah.
I might get it.
You did not notice how I came in
kinda
here
be
with
missing
dark
one
roots
hair.
and purple and brown, and then all of a sudden I came in here and it was just all the way purple and orange.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Oh, you dyed it yourself?
I do. Girl, I would pay for something that I do.
You know,
And
back in the
people
day,
pay
I
me
haven't
to
paid to
do
get my hair
theirs.
done in over 10 years. I'm blessed. My hairdresser and I are friends. We were friends before we started and we barter. I give her a massage and she does my hair. I'm like,
And that's what's up. Cause if it wasn't for my mom, girl,
It is
your cup is what
expensive.
inspired my hair. I saw those colors. I just took and put more, I put more of the, purple. I used the Joico Indigo with the, Ion Hot Red. And I also used the Sunset Orange and just had a whole bunch of fun.
Are you a cosmetologist or you
Yes,
just
I'm a
teach
licensed
yourself to try yourself?
No, I'm like my mom owns
You
taco
can teach
salons.
yourself, better is it?
No, but I'm saying like I learned.
You do my hair instead of going to the stranger lady.
stranger.
I mean,
Danger. Stranger.
No, like her phone, like
That's what I know. When it
uh,
comes to hair, that's called
or whatever. She
stranger.
does good colors. I let her
Okay.
look and
Oh, I get what you mean. You just
But
never
I don't know
dealt
her.
with her before.
Right.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
never met her. I don't know.
No.
But where is
She said strange.
I gotta build a relationship with my hair.
Well, there.
Yeah.
Anybody touches it, like I got to know. There is no stranger danger touching my hair. Damn.
Especially going platinum. No, ma'am.
This is how I want my hair. This color. So I'm ready to do all this. Painted them. And then once I have my dark hair back, then my lashes will do it. But that's hurts me too.
You gonna stay over there?
No.
I mean, you could. But then we lose.
Then we'd be
Then we
talking
leave Susan
probably.
all by herself. That would be nice.
You guys should feel very, very excited about the conversation Andrew had. Do you guys not?
Yep.
Yeah? No, maybe?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a pretty easy fix.
It's pretty straightforward. You guys should feel very good about those persistency and placement bonuses, because that's awesome. You give yourself at middle ground, you could give yourself an $8,000 annual raise just off of bonuses, so. Definitely is something to work towards, something to keep in mind. You guys should have a checklist. Miss Andrea and Miss Madison, I will email it to you guys. It's a daily checklist. Miss Andrea, you'll have it when you come in.
Oh, I did have one more question. You know how he said you can come in you might once a month and have 2 hours for callbacks on like a Saturday or something? Well, you come in here with the fob or because we don't have access at home, right?
After you hit your 90 days, then you'll be able to take your laptops home. So you can do callbacks and stuff from home, or because even sometimes doing that, coming in the building just gives you a feel of work and you're able to focus more and get a lot more done. Yeah. So, but even just the mindset itself for the willingness to come to work or stay like that, it itself is getting you prepared to make the money you want to make.
I said that, I don't care about that.
Well, if it's a Saturday, I mean, I wouldn't think you'd have a home office, so I could just do it there. But after the 90 days, if it's just 2 hours, I won't drive all the way drive.
Right.
But the staying later, you're already here.
Well, what time is the call center open till?
5:30. Monday through Thursday, 5:30, you'll be getting new business calls. Thursday,
Up to 5:30?
5:30 Monday through Wednesday, Thursday 5:15, Friday 5 o'clock. As far as new business calls coming over,
Why so early?
they will be extending hours. I don't know when, but that was. But the brokerage itself has only been functioning for a little bit over 2 years now. I'm going on 3. So we're just not really ramping up and building up. So those hours were sufficient for the agent population that we had previously. And then also other businesses that they send leads to, they make the money they need in those hours. So there's really no need to extend the hours, but not Christmas.
I just mean, it's, you know, with California being so far behind, and that's a state
Right.
we do
I
a
mean,
lot of
that's-
business in, then why wouldn't we be open till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night?
If they, again, they make the money that they feel they need in those hours and they don't have to, but no, it's something that I see probably sooner than not changing because again, during the holidays especially, there was an increase. Like those late hours are really good. It's really, really good as far as contact go, but the likelihood of you closing something that you get late is pretty high.
So they have like a mid-shift?
That's why, that was the other thing, why, because you were
Because you
saying,
don't wanna be here
you know,
12
5,
hours.
6 o'clock is where you
When
can make a lot of money, but if there's no new business calls coming in.
That's where you set up your follow-ups. That's where you, again, the end of night, those later calls usually do turn into policies. But you can set your follow-ups from calls that you had earlier in the day with people that were getting off later in the day, so you can call back then. It's stuff to do. You can definitely prepare for the next day, clean your book of business so that in the morning you come in and you're ready to take new business calls and you're not chasing people down or trying to clean up back end stuff. So it's definitely something to do to prepare for even the new business hours. So, but no, I definitely see that changing again sooner than later, but it hasn't happened as yet.
I'd love a mid-shift.
Hitting
Sleeping
60
in.
hours is your goal. 6 hours a day of talk time is your goal.
I'd say 60
How,
hours.
right, I don't know
Oh.
where that came from. I just
That boy have no voice left.
yeah, so building stamina, that's another thing that's really big. You're gonna want to get comfortable. And of course, when you guys first roll out, you're still learning, you're figuring stuff out, you're trying to figure it out. Mindset is huge. And I'll say that a million times because prior to coming here, I had a mindset shift, a paradigm shift. You can be so used to saying, this is how I am, that you're not open to changing the way you are. If it's not serving you, it's not beneficial, then be open to changing how your mind or how you think that you're used to being. But being willing to open up to the opportunity of really having the opportunity to make as much money as you want. And knowing that there are certain things, the zero sales talent things and the preparing for the day and all those things are going to only help you as you improve yourself. And this isn't something that I'm saying because I heard it. This is something that I feel firsthand that directly correlated. When I changed my mind, everything else literally changed. So being willing and able to come in earlier to on time, which is early, so that you can prepare yourself and be in a mindset to where when the day starts, you know what it is you want to do, you're focused on getting it done. By the end of the day, you're willing to do a little bit extra to get stuff done. Like you literally have the opportunity to do and make this what you want to. You'll hear it over and over again, but this really is up to you how much you put into it or how much you don't put into it. There's never going to be anyone standing over you saying you better do. So you have the freedom if you're taking advantage of it in a positive way. If you're not, then other action will be taken. But if you're taking advantage of it in a positive way and making the most and seeing, okay, well, this is the most sales someone's got. Mo, what was it that your goal was or that you hit? Oh, I could do that. She could do. If anyone can do something, that means that you could do it too, and or more. So just like the 4-minute mile, where that was an impossible thing to do, once one person broke it, 4 mile minute, however, whatever it is, 4-minute mile. Yeah, that might be wrong. 60-second mile. something. It was a race. You're on fast.
4 minutes is very fast.
Okay,
Very
so
fast.
it is-
6
so-
minutes is like,
Yeah.
They thought that, and if I'm wrong with the numbers, correct me, but it is the 4 minute.
It
mile.
is.
It couldn't be broken. Nobody could do a mile of 4 minutes. And then the year after the first person did it, 6 other people did it because they realized it can be done. It's everything you do starts with your mind. Your mind literally has the power to help you or stop you from doing anything that you want. So before you can start just moving, you really have to prepare. This is more mental than everything is more mental than anything. You just have to realize how strong your mental is, and you could either sharpen it or just let it be what it is and not control it, let it control you. But you have the power to have, do, and be anything that you want. That's inside here and outside of here. So it's a lot that you will learn here, not aside from the process, because you gotta know the process. But then once you know your job, everything else is just a bonus. But there will be a lot that you'll learn inside here about self that you can take outside of here, because the better you are in general, the better you'll be at the job for the company. We are growing, we are trying to be our best, we are trying to build into something great. So you being your best selves is only going to help us as a team, individually yourself, but the more whole individuals you have, just like in a relationship, two broken people coming together and making a whole person is not the same as two whole people coming together and making something awesome. So keep that in mind. Driving in here right at the time that you need to start taking calls or not being focused on, it's only going to hurt you, and you being hurt or broken is not going to help us as a team or as a whole. So be mindful of that when you guys are out on the floor. The energy that you bring in is contagious. So do not be the person that's not adding to, but taking from. So be mindful of those things. When you're walking there and say hello, do something. Just know that you're new. For right now, you're new. But soon, once you're here and you're in it, and you will be people that the new people are looking at. So if you're out there like, you don't care, we are not creating that culture. We're very, very, very big on protecting the culture that we have created, that we are trying to create. So add value wherever you go. And just says, if you have greatness in your heart, let it out. But seriously, let it out. No, let it out. If it's something you're not sure about, you have questions, everyone is very helpful. So ask the questions. Do not be afraid or ashamed. The more you learn, the better you are, the better we are as a group, as a team, as a whole, as a family. So, yes,
Oh, I did have one question.
please.
So when y'all talk about the state licensing in the other states that y'all really want, is it something that we move forward with, or is it something the company moves forward with? Because I don't know how to apply for the other state licensing.
So you can get the information if you don't want to wait, because after I think 90 days and you get your performance, if you want to get more states, you can. If it's something that you want to do ahead of time so that you have more, because the more states you have, the more options you have, obviously. So if you want to move ahead and get those ahead of time, then yeah, Andrew can give you the information and point you in the direction and figure out cost-wise, because that is something that we're willing to go half with you guys on. So if that's something that you want to do sooner than later, let us know, let him know so he can make it happen.
Well, what are the 4 main states that he?
Yeah, he mentioned the main
Like there are just 4 main states that we really want you to have, but never 7.
Louisiana, I might be lying, so don't charge this against me. Florida, California, Texas, and Louisiana, I believe. Alabama's a good one. It's really 7 or 12 that are focus states, hotspot states, but there are 4 that are on top of on top of that 12.
Yeah, because I mean, if I want to move forward, I want to know which states in particular we need, that's like, okay, these here are the top 4 that we really want.
Yeah, because if we have the states, like if just with Florida, like would we still have a 5 to 7 minute in between, or would it be like
It's gonna take a
larger?
little, yes,
Take
it's
a little
definitely
longer
gonna take a
time.
little longer for you to,
Be able to get a Florida state.
yes.
So I'd rather move forward quicker too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I pay for them and get them. It's just if the company, before we continue to invest, because right now between training, equipment on there. There's a large investment in you guys individually already. So the whole 90-day aspect is, okay, let's make sure that they're actually gonna be here, they're gonna do what they need to do, and then, okay, we'll go after them on these things. But if you guys feel the need to do it sooner than later, then absolutely. I'm gonna give you the checklist. I don't know why I don't have a soft copy of this checklist readily available. That's weird, but the daily checklist. Visualize your day's success. Big. Happening is stumbling into something
yourself
being
in
good is accidental. You want to be intentional with everything that you do. Intentions is huge because you can happen into happiness or you can make it happen. And in order to do that, visualizing is huge. It's an exercise that we can do. We won't do it. We might do it. I don't know. But
Well, no, I mean, that's for real, because my boyfriend this morning said, "Where you at?" I said, "I'm already there. I've already put myself in there and ready for my day." He said, "Ooh, that's good."
there is literally an exercise where you can close your eyes and visualize something and it physically make your body do more than had you not done that. It was so crazy because this is 4 years ago. All this stuff, like being all of this stuff and just mental stuff, I've been very, very, very focused on it for the last, this is a made real delay on here. Sorry. If you are asking questions, I apologize. I'm gonna restart the live. There she goes. It's big, and I've been really focused on it for the last, I want to say 4 or 5 years. 4 years now. I don't know, time runs together, but literally seeing how this stuff works is what has allowed me to do what I did here so quickly. So I don't say it just because it sounds good. And I heard a lot of people do it. Like I literally physically watched and did. And so even what you said yesterday about wanting to be the person that gets up, and you can do that, and your whole everything will change, and it'll be like it's a beautiful thing. So visualize your day's success, what you want, how many policies, even if it doesn't happen on that first day or whatever day it is. You moving with the expectancy of it happening, you doing everything that you need to do to make it happen means that it's owed to you. The day is coming, the end of the week, it's owed to you if you keep putting in the energy and effort to do the things that you want to do to be successful. Plan your callbacks. So planning callbacks is big because you will have old clients that you need to either follow up with and or things that come up on your reports that you see you need to do. You want to set your day up so that you're not pushing it back, because if you're not making your callbacks, there's money on the back end that you may be losing, or there may be people that you haven't closed yet that you could close if you call them back. So you want to organize your day in a way to where maybe in the middle of the days when the calls are a little slow because the front end is on taking lunch, because between 12:30 and 1:30 they take their lunches. They stagger them, but it does slow down the call flow. Or the end of the day, you know that you're going to stay late on Wednesday, set a couple callbacks for Wednesday after 5:30 or whatever the case may be, but you want to be strategic in doing it. You also want to, with the status report and previous clients that you may need to call, you can send an email to get a little assistance. Angela, you guys I think I'm going to have her pop in on Friday to give you guys a little bit of information and kind of talk through how just being organized and agency block will help her help you. But you'll see how, you don't want to not be doing your callbacks. You don't want to not follow up with those status reports and things like that, because the more you put it off, they're giving me 7 days, I'll do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes, and then before you know it, all that business starts falling, and now you're anxious when you come in, and and it's a feeling that if you were to just organize your stuff, all that trickles. So you coming in here not feeling comfortable or feeling like you have so much stuff on your plate is going to impact you being able to be fresh on each call. So do what you need to do to make sure that you are aligning yourself to be successful. Because if you're saying you want to be successful, you want to do all this stuff, but you're not actually taking the measures to make it happen, it's just going to physically make you sick, like literally physically make you sick. Stress is real, and it will break you down.
And you've done that.
Yes, it's not worth it. Check agency block activity. So we're going to go into agency block. We'll probably take a little bit of an early lunch because I want you guys to kind of get into some systems and see how systems work. But agency block is a CRM. It is where you're going to house all of your clients. That's where the calls pop through. That's where you'll make your notes, all of that. So you'll set activities for yourself to remind yourself to do certain things. And it will pop up at the beginning of the day so that you can see what your day looks like and arrange your day how you need to. But you're gonna wanna make sure that you're doing those at the beginning of the day. It might be something from 3 weeks ago that you forgot about. You wanna know, okay, oh yeah, I do have to do this. Let me make sure that I set up my day so that that's available. Check your carrier portals, which would be Prosperity's portal that provides you with information on what is going on with each policy. You will get the notifications, you will have things updated in agency block, but why not directly look at the carrier that you're dealing with and your policies in one place from Prosperity? Yes, ma'am.
If I receive the Welcome to Prosperity Life group, does that mean I've been appointed with our agent number?
Yes.
Yes, that's good. That's really good.
And then
because-
we think about any issues.
No. Okay, that's good because I was thinking that you might have gotten
I even got a text from, about optical.
Yeah.
You got yours too, Toy? Okay. You're not the only one. It's okay. This is normal. So they'll start trickling in. So that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
He just emailed me. Woohoo!
Oh yeah. Yes. I got it. Yep. Okay. Good. Good. Kristen. Wonderful, Kristen.
Crystal.
No, it says Kristen.
I know what it
So,
says.
Yeah. So
My
we're gonna have
extended
to.
name is Crystal, so let's see.
We'll have to figure out that because even with talking to your clients,
I can talk to my clients as Kristen, that's fine, I've done
Okay.
it before. I've done it with every aspect of, since I've been in this industry, I just prefer people that know me to
Yeah.
address, right, to
That's
address me as Crystal, because that was the, being my
Intimate.
mother, right,
so yes, out of respect for
and
you,
that's what I go
absolutely.
by.
So just make
Just
sure
as-
on the phones that you are Kristen, just because you don't want to be telling them Crystal, and then they get this email like, "Who are you?" No, I don't. You're NPN. So okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. Easy enough.
Does it cost a lot of money to like change your name? Or a lot of hassle?
No, it doesn't cost a lot of money to change your name, and it's not a very big hassle if your birth certificate and your social security number match.
Right.
But the
Okay.
names online don't,
Yeah.
My mom had a big
so it
problem with
is a
that
huge issue.
for her driver's license and her social.
Yes, when I went to get my
Let's
driver's
bring it
license
back.
for the
Let's
first time,
bring
they
it
said,
back.
print my face on
Um,
that.
You good, Toy? You going to bed? You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So carrier portals, check that. Check your emails. You can again set your GTI emails up, your Outlook emails to come to your phone. I like it just because it gives you a heads up and you can kind of know and good, bad, or ugly. I like it. Personal preference, but I like it. Huh? Prosperity's last name? Something?
No, I said it aggravates me when they only use one of my middle names. I have
gotcha.
two of them, and it's, my name is not Kristen Pay, it's Kristen Pay Lynn.
You can pick that one with Prosperity themselves directly. We not. gonna do
It's
that.
everybody, because typically you can't put a space, the field won't let you put a space. So it's either Phelan is one word and it's not, or it's just the first. And so it's just usually system constraints.
All right, so GTI emails, check them as often as possible. You definitely want to check them before you start your day and throughout the day because there may be things coming through from the team. Slack, you guys should have gotten a Slack notification. So whatever you need to do to go in and set that up, do go ahead and do so.
Okay.
Also Gaiact, if you guys have not already, okay, I like it. If you guys have not already, go ahead and set that up as well. Your screen, you have Agency Block. Do you guys have your logins for Agency Block already?
Yes.
No.
Maybe.
No.
No, not agency block.
Not
just the
agency
guy
block,
at-
just GaiaC, and I
Yeah.
just got the thing for Slack, well, I got it earlier.
Pure Cloud, you guys do have the login access to Pure Cloud?
Yeah.
So if you guys want to go ahead and spend the next like 10 minutes or so logging into GaiaC, making sure that that's set up. Any email addresses that you, passwords that you change, please go ahead and email them to Jason. It's probably preferable to do it all in one, but even if it's individually, just make sure you send them anything that you change. We'll go ahead and get all your stuff logged in. So then that's GaiaC, Pure Cloud, you guys should already have on there, but check Pure Cloud /Genesis, it's one and the same. We'll figure out Agency Block after lunch. Slack, if I didn't say Slack,
But we can do our whatever password for Slack, right?
yes.
Continue. We don't wanna do it with Google, we wanna do it at work, you know, right?
Yes.
Is that your Slack?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it couldn't create.
This is server error.
Well, it was taking a while to do. So we couldn't create. It's just- It's not letting me.
This is T Franklin.
For me, it says just,
Also, it's already logged into Travis's.
His email and everything is still on.
And does it give you a log out option?
But then it's just,
Miss Andrea, let me know if it's everyone having the same issue with Slack. I'll just call you. Let me know if you're able to get into Slack, GaiaC. You should already be in Pure Cloud. You may need to create one.
It says
hey,
unique
guys.
password. I don't think there was a password that we sent them.
no, but I'm trying to put the, make one and it keeps saying.
Crystal, you have Slack logged in? Okay,
Oh, yeah,
Crystal.
it's just saying couldn't create contact Slack.
I was trying to set up an email.
Your phone, your Outlook. Oh.
I don't like this.
Should we put the Slack on our phone too?
You
Can you say
can
after
personal
hours stuff?
to save. It's your call on putting it on your phone. We can't tell you to do anything with your personal mobile device, but I'd like to have access to stuff.
Cause you say things that after hours and stuff on there, right? So you-
It's mostly just encouragement. There are several channels, 2 of them, one of them you'll log into with anything training specific. But like there is one for underwriting, once you guys get in there, that's an urgent notification. If you're on a call, you need answers like real time, then that's where you would put those messages. If you, but the other one will be like encouraging words. It might have policies as people write them. Just a team in there, just kind of.
It's not letting me do it. It's saying you couldn't create an account.
Yeah.
Maybe because the account is, maybe the account might already be created and you're just logging in. Don't make me lie. I don't know. I don't even remember.
Does he have to send us a different invite? I wonder. Is it, I mean, it says join Slack and share invite, but
It just keeps telling me, I mean, I'm making a stronger password and still not doing it.
yeah, it's, I
I
think
thought maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. it's something going on.
I thought, well, if I create something too out there, I'll never remember it. I didn't know. Right.
It's weird that I'm logged in under my email and stuff for Google Chrome, but with Amara guy, it still pops up under saved passwords. That's pretty bad on Google's part.
Now it's letting me create the account. So you gotta try it 50 times.
It worked now?
Yeah, now it's working.
Let's see this one again. Maybe they had a server error on there and Slack's in.
It's taking its time though. Now
Whoa,
it says
what
can't do it.
freak? What the freak? It's saying that thing. Yeah, there's something wrong with Slack. And then I hit
It's Slack, I don't think it's us.
It's Slack, because then I'm hitting contact Slack and it says sign into Guardian Share when I click it, instead of taking me to the contact Slack page.
Slack might be having a bad day.
Yeah.
For the low cost,
Me?
I think I have an answer.
Oh my, you do?
I'm not speaking with certainty, but this might work. This one he said would work, but I usually find a way to. Make technical stuff a little harder than it's supposed to. I am smart though. I promise I am smart most days. So it's actually an app that you guys will have to download.
What?
Yeah, why?
Slack app?
Oh, on the computer?
I'm sending you the link.
Oh, you would think it was on the computer.
The app was on the computer, but it takes you to the browser to sign in, and then it goes back to the app.
Yours is on the computer because you have one that was already used for that. But in general, try this. If it doesn't work, that's not working, or how that's replacing.
Hi.
Or I will figure it out while you guys are at lunch. Ms. Andrew, do you have all that you need? Is it letting you log into stuff or no? Hmm? Did anyone successfully get in?
I got the email from you now.
I'm counting on you, Ms. Crystal. Okay.
What did you need from me?
Don't figure it out.
First what? Oh,
Right,
give me just a minute. I'll see what I do.
thank you.
I'm
You got it.
downloading it now.
I'm on it.
Our local training technically. Help me out. Help me help you. It's a whole lot of chemicals down there.
Well, it's still bringing us right back to
Go
the,
ahead and try again, and if it persists, always contact Slack, and then once you create, and try to create, and it's gonna say the server error.
oh, maybe this will work here.
Create a workspace. Not even letting me click.
Oh, it worked if you download the Slack app and then it, you type in your email and then it sends to your email a code to type in on the Slack.
Yeah, did that too.
It
And
didn't
No,
work?
it says there was a system error preventing us from creating your account. Please try again.
And that's the same thing I
It's still messing up.
keep.
Check your email for a code, but the code that you were sent already is not.
You didn't get the code?
Each time.
Oh, it works for me with the code.
It let you in and create the account.
It already was created, it just said, join, it brings you to the page with guide to ensure.
Yeah, I
It
remember
says
mine being
join.
very quick and easy. There you go. Is that you or that's Travis? I'm good at that. Change your mind, change your life. Okay, close all the other stuff. Check on a new, what you just do? I'm heard. So where are you?
I'm a little disconnected, sweetheart.
That's okay, cause I don't know if, I think Carlos sent this.
Oh, yeah, it
message
still does that
yesterday.
though.
Oh,
It lets you hit the join invitations for me and it lets you hit join. But then it takes you back to the same page where you have to enter your name.
But it's already done on another tab?
It says, it shows my invitations for my email when I did the code, and it says for guide to ensure, click join. But then when you do, it opens another create account page where you're back to the same problem where it says cannot create account. I think
Yeah,
it's
do it
something
like
with
3 or 4
almost
times and
there,
then it
almost
finally
there.
works on the fourth time.
Crystal Pay is going to help us all real soon. Toy somehow got it, neither one of us knows how she did, but that's kind of what I believe happened with mine.
You said you tried it, clicked in a lot of times?
No, I just kept having it send me a confirmation code, and then when I had to do it the second time, it just, instead of sending the code to sign up, it just said open Slack and join group. So I
She
was
didn't
like,
let you hit join without making you create a new account?
No, because that's the page that she got stuck at, but at some point in time it let her in because then she ended up in there.
Mine's still spinning, checking your code.
Also, maybe that's
like
what it was
3
taking
Slack
time to do
emails.
right. Maybe
Just let
that's
it,
what
just
was
let
taking
it
time to do.
spin.
Give it a chance to.
It took a minute for me.
To get your code?
I put the code in, so did you download the Slack?
I downloaded the Slack app,
Okay,
I put the code in, I hit join on guide to ensure, and then it brought me back to the same create account, and then I type in the same information and it still says can't create.
So probably because it's in the background thinking about that other code that you did. I'm coming to next January, you'll make it work. Not that I'm coming to help. It's coming to.
Sometimes that helps though.
Right.
Moral support.
So I did, this was the code,
Go back to it, window.
well, I canceled it now.
Still checking.
Maybe you're giving me a new code. Oh, now it works. It says open. Okay. Anyway, guys, I'm ready to build up. Taking you to the poker table. Just kidding, I didn't know. Yeah.
Okay, let me
And
go
then it
check.
brings you to the app. Okay.
You good?
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
that was crazy.
Let me, no, you need me to stand, let me stand by you too.
It's spinning.
Yeah, that was strange.
Vote is right.
Everything's just spinning. Oh, what was all that? He'll be back.
Does
Something
Susan
happened
need
right
to set
there.
up Slack?
Not, no.
Crystal, you're in.
Yeah, I mean, it was odd the way that.
Karen, Toy.
That was strange. Cause it sent me code 2 times.
So Karen is at the point where you were at,
I went onto the app and quit Slack, and then I just typed in slack.com and hit sign in, and then it brought me to that code. And then it actually worked the second time.
Now it works.
It worked the second time when I did it.
I hit a hang up.
I think Slack's having issues.
It's a
Being
server issue here.
It's, there's something going on. with
so
Slack.
that's why it is easier to do it through the apps.
No, but the app takes you right to the web browser anyway, until you get signed in.
I was trying to make it make sense in my head. I told y'all I'm gonna do it.
Now it's hanging up again.
It's
There
Slack.
we go.
Oh, there it is. Is that it?
Now it came back.
That's it. Now you can hit open and it should open in the app. Or wait, it's gonna, oh, it opened right in the app. You can click open.
So then everybody's in. What about, Andrea or Madison, do they need help?
I've asked Miss Andrea, I haven't gotten no responses yet. Miss Andrea, you in? Alright, DIAC, everyone has updated their email addresses. Not email address, passwords.
Mm-hmm. I used just the same one.
Alright, everybody just, I would recommend doing a due diligence and log out and back in if you haven't already to make sure you don't have any issues. There should be an icon on your desktop now for Slack. So that you can just open it and close it, you don't even have to log out if you choose not to. I've done it every day. Okay, back to email.
So that's that. Carlos.
Yeah, or. You really don't.
Oh, no. Gaia, good, Karen and Crystals.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
There she goes. I'm waiting for my confirmation code to go through. Okay, for Slack, I'm guessing, right? Just give a thumbs up once you get in, Miss Andrea. How you feeling with the script, Miss Susan?
I think I'm good with the script. Do you mind if I step out for a phone call?
Go. If everyone's done with their system stuff, go ahead and pop out for lunch. Come back at 12:45. I'm gonna take a while, and I'm trying to get some of this back and stuff. You heard that, Miss Susan? You could go 12:45.
I don't know why I'm extra cold today. I think when I'm working out there, because it's super cold, I'm gonna bring a blanket to put over my legs.
This is the freezer, so it's not as cold out there, and also the temperature dropped. So
Yeah,
this
it's like,
morning
it's
was
like 50
really cold.
degrees this morning.
Yeah. All right, oh, this one.
So, Jason
Uh-huh.
wrote down my Microsoft password. It's not accepting it. I'm trying to.
Put an extra $sign behind it if it's only one, and
It's
it's
two.
on that one, so try it with the one.
I did.
You tried 2 and 1, neither one's working? At my.guide2insure.com. So dot after mine.
Yeah, K-Brookings at my.guidetoinsure.com. The server, outlook.office365.com. The domain is my.guidetoinsure.com. And the password, I put Life, INS, Rocks, capital L, capital I, capital R, 1, 2, 3, and I tried it with $2 signs the first time and $1 sign the second time.
I should be right, especially if you wrote it, because I know sometimes it's forgot, but if neither one of the dollar sign options is working, and it's capital L, capital I, but just NS, ROCKS with a capital R, 1, 2, 3.
I, capital L, INS, capital I, Rocks, capital R, CKS, 1, 2, 3, dollar sign, sign in. Check your email address and password and try again. So, capital L, I, F, E, capital I, N, S, capital R, O, C, K, S, 1, 2, 3, $1 sign. Same thing, please check.
And
your
it's
email.
Okay, let me make sure your email address is correct.
Yeah, kperkins at my.guidetoinsure.com. I can't see in here, I don't even see where to change my password to.
No, don't change your password. You can Google check your password. Miss Andrea, you good to go? You doing lunch? We're doing lunch till 12:45. Let me finish this email real quick and then Jay.
Well,
Yes.
feel free to do what you're doing and we'll pick up when we get back if you want. That way we can both enjoy our lunch. And we're not.
I work through mine, but you
I know.
enjoy yours. I'll be here when you get back.
See, you can EM work.
Yes. If it's just Slack, don't stress it. Go ahead and take lunch. Come back at 12:45. We'll figure that out. You can you can always email me if we can't get your Slack figured out, but we should be able to get that figured out before you guys start taking calls. They all kind of had some weird herky-jerky stuff going on with getting logged into Slack, so it's probably your system doing the same thing. They got to put the code in multiple times or request the code multiple times, so that might be it. Hey. Yay. I am celebrating. I don't know who that was. So Miss Madison, yes, 12:40. I will see you all then. You have a GAIAC email with the new login information. You should also have Slack information to log into. Slack's been doing something weird. You may figure it out faster than we did. But log into Slack if you can. GAIAC also, and Genesis you should already have. Okay, good job. What about Genesis? Were you able to get into Genesis previously, Pure Cloud? Very good, very impressed. Enjoy your lunch. I will see you all at 12:45. Did I say 12:40? 12:45. I need a minute, and I want to get some back end stuff done too. So it may have been 12:40, but 12:45 is going to be actual. So enjoy. See you guys in a few.